like to talk today about this whole concept of this new normal, how ridiculous it is. Uh, well, let's start off with my moving here where I am now. Like I've said, it's a nice place, and the majority of the people I've met around here, they've been friendly and cordial and all of that. But things are different now, you know. Um, Like when I was a kid, we knew our neighbors. Maybe I mentioned this in the last video I did. But when I was a kid, we knew the people in our neighborhood. Uh, our parents knew their parents. We played in each other's backyards, and we'd go outside, and sometimes we'd spend all day outside, only to come in for supper or lunch. I remember when I was just about 8 years old. I lived not too far from Nob Hill Farms, and you could find anything in there. You could find anything in there. So some days we would go in there and you could spend hours in there. They had toys in there, food in there, all kinds of stuff. And we used to, when we were kids, we used to build these rockets, and we'd build these rockets, and some of them were really cool, and some of them took a while to build. So you build these rockets, and you put this fuse in the bottom of the rocket, and you light the fuse, and the rocket goes up in the air. And that was a big thing that we used to do. Our family and our neighbors. I think one of our neighbors actually got us into it. And we used to go to, I did anyway. I used to go to arcades and pool halls, and it was really cool. It was a true social experience. Um, there were things you had to watch out for, sure, undesirable characters and other things, but the more you spent in places like that, the more time you spent in places like that, the more you got to recognize what to be careful of. Um, it sounds kind of cliche and a little cringy, perhaps, I guess, given my age, but I'm somewhat nostalgic for the old days sometimes. Sometimes I wish I had a CRT television so that I could just sit on the floor and play an Atari or my old Sega or the old Nintendo. I still have a Nintendo here somewhere. Um but this whole new normal thing, I don't things have been weird ever since 2020. Ever since the lockdowns and the pandemic, things just got really strange. I mean, people got strange. A lot of people got freaked out. It freaked them right out, and the world, unfortunately, it'll never be the same. It'll never be the same. And I'm not one to carry my phone everywhere. Like, I don't live on my phone, right? Honestly, I didn't get a cell phone until about 2017. And then people were bugging me to get one, and I finally got one, and after about a week, it lost its luster, right? And I don't do social media. I have one, I have a stupid Facebook thing, and I only use that to keep in touch with people that are far distances away from me, and to, see what my nieces and nephews are up to, and that sort of thing. But I don't typically do social media because it's just, I think it's detrimental. I think it's making people dumber. I think the internet, by and large, and the way people use it today, has probably lowered the overall IQ. Um, it's what else can I say? I don't get this new normal. You know what scares me? How everything is becoming digital and people are just thinking that, oh, it's convenient. It's convenient. But you're gonna regret it one day. Trust me. Believe me when I tell you, you're gonna regret it one day. If you digitize everything, if you allow this to happen, if we allow for digital IDs to come in the way that certain governmental bodies want, you're gonna regret it. Um, because then that's gonna turn into a social credit system, and it's a slippery slope. But how I miss the days of going out places and going to in the summer going to pools and playing on a slip and slide, and even going to the park or going to a fair. Nobody does this anymore. I mean, I'm sure people do, but it's getting fewer and fewer, it seems. And I just think it's ridiculous. For as long as I've been on the internet, I've never really fully embraced online culture. I never played World of Warcraft. Not once in my life have I played World of Warcraft. And that's the God's honest truth. I worked in an office in 2007, and the guy that was in the desk next to mine, he was sitting in the desk next to mine. He goes, he's a big he's a big nerd, eh? He's an odd guy, weirdo. I can say that now. He was a weirdo, a bit of a know-it-all. Um, but he's like, I'll make you a copy of World of Warcraft, and you should play it. It's the greatest game ever. No, I don't. No, I know people who have played that. They ruined their college education because of that game. I know people who have uh, broken up relationships because of that game. Um, I know people who have screwed up their families because of that game. People have gone into debt because of that game. I have no desire to play World of Warcraft whatsoever. That being said, I do know people that met because of World of Warcraft, and they went and ended up dating and got married. So God bless them. There are pluses and minuses, but it's not for me. I think the longest online game I ever played was probably Grand Theft Auto Online via Grand Theft Auto 5, which I played for 9 years. Um I got it on the PS3, I had it on the 360, I have it on the PS4, and I have it on my Epic Games Store on PC because it was free. And I got it in 2013. I pre-ordered it. It was a midnight pickup, so my folks had to go pick it up for me. It was downtown uh, Lindsay at the time, and there was some whiny fucking kid in the line, and he didn't even buy the game. He whined and whined and whined because he wanted a poster. But that's neither here nor there. So I played that game for 9 years across the various platforms, and I played it with some buddies of mine that I grew up with, and we had fun playing it. That in Terraria. And we played Castlevania Harmony of Despair or something like that for the PS3. That was a lot of fun. But, this was a different time, even back then, even 12 years ago almost. Jesus, how time flies. So at the end of the 9 years, I got I had all my businesses, I had tons of cars, I had billions of dollars. I had completed the missions, all of them in the online mode, at least 4 times over. And it's like I got to the point where I just said, why do this anymore? So I haven't played Grand Theft Auto 5, I think, in about 7 years now. Was the last time I played it. I have no desire to play it. I noticed there's a new enhanced version on Steam. I don't really care. I don't care. It was a great game for its time. It was a technological marvel. But I have no desire to go back and play it. And I've got no desire to go back and play, or I've got no desire to play Grand Theft Auto 6. Frankly, I don't have $200 to piss away on a video game. It's not within a lot of it is not within my means anymore. It's not in my budget anymore. I wouldn't piss away $200 on a game anyway. Especially if it's just digital and it's on Steam. Because you don't actually own anything on Steam. Nothing. You get a temporary license to rent the games, and as long as you don't get banned or break any of the rules, you can rent them for as long as they'll allow you to do it. I think I've said this before, but when it comes to my games, I go to platforms like GOG. If I can get something on GOG, I'll get something on GOG. There's always a caveat for it, but I can make copies of it and I can keep those copies. And I paid for the games that I got on GOG. So I'm not into this whole new normal thing. I don't like it. There are copious amounts of ridiculous censorship going on right now, and I don't like that either. Like, this is going on YouTube, right? So I'm probably going to get trouble for using the word suicide. You can't even talk about, certain topics anymore because words are triggering. That certain words are offensive now, right? I remember back in 2013, I was noticing some patterns and I was looking at this was I think 2013 or 2014. So it was around the Gamergate, the first Gamergate thing. And I told people back then and they were laughing at me. I told people back then, I said, you watch. This whole Gamergate thing is a scapegoat. They're going to use this shit to come after. They're going to use this to impose censorship laws, and they're going to do it under the guise of fairness and equality. And pretty soon, there will come the day where you won't even be able to mention certain words. You will not be able to talk about certain things. You can't mention certain topics. Otherwise, you're going to get penalized for it. You might even get a fine. You might get jail time. The language police are coming, and they're going to try to squeeze everybody. And I had mentioned this. I said that Gamergate is a scapegoat for all of this ridiculous censorship. I can see it coming. I mentioned this, and these people that I was associated with at the time, they just laughed at me. They rolled their eyes and they laughed at me. And then other people said at the time, they said, oh, that's just online. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just online. It's not real life. And here we are. Here we are. We're living in an ever-growing Orwellian present, I think. And that's a scary thing. That should scare any reasonable person with a thinking brain who has enough awareness. That should concern you, I think. If we lose the ability to choose, if we have complete communication breakdown, if we lose the ability to have debates and discussions and disagreements, you can have a disagreement with somebody respectfully. You cannot agree with everything somebody says, and you can still get along with them. You can disagree, you can be on opposite sides of a fence and still be friends. You can still be cordial. But if we lose the ability to communicate, if we lose the ability to debate, to disagree, if we get lazy and we deprive ourselves of the ability to question, to think, to analyze, to consider, to criticize, these are basic things, right? And if we lose these, we'll lose everything. Everything else will crumble. Everything else will fall. Here's another thing, too, I've been thinking about. What is it with social media? And the funny thing about social media is that it's actually antithetical to anything social. It's fraudulent. It's fake. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm an old dog who can't learn new tricks. I don't know. But nowadays, you disagree with somebody, you can just hit the block button. You can just delete them. You don't have to hear their, you can just have your own narrative and fill in the blanks whenever you want or however you want. You don't have to hear two sides to the story. You don't have to, you can just be frankly stuck up about it. And you can just hit the button. And there are instances where you probably are going to want to do that. You're probably going to want to walk away. But then there are other times I think to myself, why couldn't we just discuss this rationally? It's like if I upset you, if I bothered you, then why don't you just tell me about it? Why don't we talk about it? You know, am I supposed to sit here and play a guessing game or something? What the heck? My dad used to say that to me. He's like, well, his generation, right? They used to say, they'd say to us, they'd say, what am I, a mind reader? And like, now I get it, because I think, what did I do? What did I say? You know, if I have done something wrong, or if I stepped out of bounds, just tell me. Tell me, you know. And how come nobody goes up to anymore? Let me reframe that. Nobody goes up to anybody anymore and says, "Would you like to be friends?" You know, or I really enjoyed this, this conversation. Thank you very much. Or it was nice to sit down and play this game together. I really appreciated that. It helped me to relax or whatever, right? Nobody does that anymore. Am I so old fashioned that I think it's just good manners to, or it's proper to sometimes go up to a person and, would you like to be friends kind of a thing? Although, to be fair, the last person that I said that to, they turned around to me and they said, "I'm not here to make friends." But then they seem to hate everybody and everything, and there's nothing you can do for people like that. There's nothing you can do for people like that. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. But I think I'm going to end this now. I suppose I just wanted to blow off some steam or get some things out of my head. I think I'll just end this now. If you'd like, hit the subscribe button, and because like I said, I'm gonna do more of these. Just maybe random topics or whatever, but I'll do more of these. And this one's off the cuff for sure. I don't have anything written down in front of me. I don't have anything rehearsed. I was thinking about that, and I just turned this on and just let her rip. I'm not a fan of the new normal. I don't like it. I don't like where it's going. I don't like what it's done. And the future concerns me, and it should concern everybody. It should concern everybody. If you're just trying to make ends meet, if you're struggling at your job, if you're just everyday average life is challenging, this shit should concern you. All of this digitized stuff and all of this censorship and this government overreach, it should concern you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.